Welcome to RealBuilds the Basics. This is a channel that's been set up for beginners to car projects and for people coming back to it. So let's start with something simple. Who the heck am I? I'm just a car guy. I'm not a mechanic, I'm not a body man, but I've been around cars my whole life. From the time I was very young, I was helping my dad work on cars. I've built my own race cars. I've auto slalom, drag raced, oval tracked, and road raced, all in various classes. I love cars, enjoy building them, enjoy racing them, enjoy competing with them. But I'm not a professional. I spent a lot of years in the car business in management capacities and parts and service capacities, but I'm not a mechanic or a body man. Now, I raced for a whole bunch of years, did the car show thing from the time I was quite young until the family came along and it just wasn't able to be done anymore economically. Plus, I made a career change into a whole different field and I didn't have time. So I was out of it for a long stretch. A few years ago, I got back into it and discovered it had changed when my then 7-year-old son and I would go to show and shines not far from us, which we did every Friday night for fun. All kinds of people would show up, look at the cars, and I'd start talking to them. And in talking to them, discovered there's an awful lot of you out there that would love to build your own car, but you don't know how. And after getting real serious and making notes, after talking to about 3,500 of you, I discovered that there's 5 basic things that hold people back from getting into the car culture or returning to the car culture with father and son projects. So let's take a minute and look at those 5 reasons, and then we'll look at how we're going to overcome them in following segments. Okay, here's the top 5 that came out of talking with 3,500 people just like you. Number 1, it's too expensive. Well, if you're going to send out all the work to a shop and you're going to have everybody else do the work, it's going to be very expensive. Or if you have the expectation of having a 9-second drag car or a championship winning show car, it's going to be expensive. But if you're willing to do the work yourself, if you're willing to put in the time, we're going to show you how you can do it inexpensively. And I understand where a lot of the thoughts come from, that you need big teams and fancy shops. We see it in the magazines, we see it on TV, but we're going to show you how you can do it on a low budget, wind up with a really nice ride, can go out to the show and shines, can take road trips, can go to low-level competitions, and have a good time. Number 2. I don't know how. Well, that's kind of why I created this channel, is we're going to show you how, and how you can do it on a budget with very basic skills. Number 3, I don't have any or enough tools. Well, you don't need a lot. We're going to show you exactly the tools we're using throughout this whole section, and it's not a big deal. It's not a lot of tools, it's not a lot of fancy tools, and they're all tools that you'll hang on to and use around the house on other projects, working on the kids' bikes, putting furniture together. You don't need a lot of exotic stuff at a basic level. Number 4, I don't have a place to work. Well, again, we don't need big specialized shops. We don't need massive garages and fancy lighting and hoists. We're going to show you that if you've got a carport or a place in the backyard or a single car garage that's full of junk, you can do everything we're doing there, because that's where we're going to be doing it. I call it Real Builds because we're doing everything in a real place. And number 5, I don't have time. Well, again, we're going to show how these projects ranging from 6 weekends to 14 weekends can be done in a real world setting on a real live budget without killing yourself and without taking up your whole summer or years. You can do basic projects in a really short period of time. So let's move ahead. So now you know what the channel's all about. You know who I am and where I come from. I'm an amateur who wants to help beginners. I've got a background in it. And the problems we're going to help you overcome and dispel some myths along the way. You can have that cool car. You can build that car with your son or your daughter, with your wife. It doesn't have to be a big shop project, and we're going to show you how to do it economically. So follow along in the next 3 projects. We're going to start with going through systems and research and where to get parts and things like that. Then we're going to move into the actual builds of the vehicles. So we'll see you soon here on RealBuilds the Basics.